We all work for the same company, and right now we work in the same environment. Now, each of us provides our own unique skills and talents that we bring to work every day. Now, sometimes some of us might need a little bit of help in certain areas of our jobs. And that's where we get into the topic of, as you see, equity versus equality. Now, some people may say that, oh, equity and equality are the same thing. You know, when we're being equitable, we're also being equal. And here we're gonna talk through that and explain how that applies to the actual workplace. As you can see, in this picture, we have three people of different heights. Now, equality would say, well, we can't show favoritism. We need to each give them the same size box. If we're going to give a box to one person, we're going to give the same box to another person. But as you see, they're all three are trying to watch the game, and if we give the same size box to each person, it doesn't change the disparity in their heights. It just shows that the taller person now can see over the fence even more. The middle person can now see over the fence, and the shorter person still cannot see over the fence. This is a depiction of what equality looks like. So when we're in the workplace and we're talking about equality, this is where you get company-wide policies saying that if we do something for one employee, we do the same thing for another employee, and so on and so forth. We assist a client one way, we assist another client the same way, and so on and so forth. So you can see how equality can slowly perpetuate itself throughout a company or an organization. Now, in our next depiction, we identify more of what equity is. As you can see in the picture, the tall person who could already see over the fence may not need a box to stand on. The middle person, may just need one box to stand on, and now they're able to see over the fence, just like the tall person. And the shorter person might need two boxes now to stand on, but now they too are able to see over the fence. This depiction is what equity is. Equity is providing the needs to the people who need them and customizing those needs to them, and so that they are able to have the same level and same standard that everybody else is at. That includes our employees as well as our clients. We need to find a way to be more equitable rather than being equal. We need to understand the unique needs of each other rather than saying everybody's needs are the same. So, to continue our discussion about equity versus equality and identifying what's going on in our company, we're going to do a small little breakout group. What I want you to do is, in small groups around you, 3 to 4 people or so, we're going to take about 5-10 minutes, and I want you to talk about equity and equality in the company and what you see on a day-to-day basis. And this can be anything from, what you deal with personally, what you've seen in your area, or what you feel like comes down from the company at the top level. And then some other questions to consider when talking about equity versus equality. Identify if you personally have been given a support that you feel like you don't need. Is there a time where where somebody came up to you and be like, oh, well, here's this support, and you're kind of thinking in yourself, well, why am I being given this support? I never asked for it. I don't feel like I need it. And maybe it's the support you've seen somebody else given, and just kind of talk through that and identify, maybe why you were offered that in the first place. And then on the opposite end, has there been a time that you feel like you've been denied a support, and trying to identify maybe why that is, um, to further identify whether it was being equitable or trying to be equal, and then try to classify whether the support was provided by yourself, that you feel like you needed this, so you made it happen. Was it something like a fellow coworker decided or thought that you might need? Or do you feel like it came down and it's a company policy? And identify if it's at whoever is the provider, um, whether or not it was appropriate and you think that, yeah, that's the way it should be, or should there be a different provider? So just take 5 minutes. So, thank you for talking in small groups. Hopefully, you got a lot out of this and were able to identify some of these equitable and uh, equality issues in the workplace. To close out, we want to just continue using this visual, and I put them side by side to really emphasize, like, you can really see the difference between equality and equity, and how in a company it is crucial to identify when an employee uh, needs to when you need to focus on equality for a specific employee, rather than trying to make sure that everything is equal for all employees, because you this equity really stresses the individual, whereas equality stresses kind of just being a blanket coverage and not really trying to understand the individual or the problem. So we want to focus on being more equitable, because that's how we build a culture of caring and compassionate employees, and employees that feel like they've been heard, they're validated, that their struggles are important, just like you know their coworkers' struggles. It is up to each to identify and to really know, like, if a policy is coming down at the company level and it's a company wide initiative, is it really something that's being equitable? Is it a policy that focuses on meeting the needs of each individual employee, or is it a policy that's blanket coverage and trying to just provide everybody with the same care? Because we need to push away from that model and push more towards appreciating the individual. And when we appreciate the individual, we're able to uh, develop them and allow them to build their skills, provide the support they need to thrive. And when we're able to do that for our employees, it's our clients that build the success and benefit from it, because now our clients feel more valued and they get the support they need. And now we are being equitable to our clients and not just our employees. And that's how we make our company grow. So I appreciate you taking the time today to listen to our conversation about equality versus equity. And I hope we continue to keep this conversation going. And should you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'd love to talk to you about it. Thanks.